What's up, guys? Chris with Croft CNC here. Had some technical difficulties in the last run, so we're going to go back. We're going to go over what we were doing and kind of reiterate. So we're going to do a 3D carve for a French door. That's two doors um, that open out opposite of each other. We're going to do a topper and a casing for them, and we're going to CNC the 3D carving around the frame. Uh, so the top estimation of the door is going to be 72 wide. Um, I just put in 60 inches for the very first design. I know it's not going to be that. It's actually going to be about 24 inches tall. Um, you're talking about a double door that has 10-foot ceilings, so we want something kind of big, and I'm going to add some more panels to the inside of it once I'm done. So we'll make this 30. 2.5 inches thick is the wood. I'm not worried about Z position right now, and I'm not worried about the datum. However, whenever I design, I keep the datum down in the left-hand corner just because it makes all of my movements positive in the positive direction for design purposes. Once I do my design work and I'm going to carve, sometimes I'll move this to the center. Sometimes I won't. It all depends. In this case, I'll probably move it to the center and then generate my tool path. The reason being, I'm going to oversize it, but I also want to make sure that I'm right there in the middle of the material on this. So I'll click OK. Now, I already have the topper designed, so I'm in Aspire, so I can play around with my 3D environment a little bit. For you guys using XCarve, desktop or pro, obviously desktop you're limited to 25 by 25 inches. For the pro you're unlimited, but you can only load and position one STL in the environment. So you'll have to actually have your design all brought together and in one area before you import it into your XCarve. Okay. For me, I'm going here, I'm going to the door topper. This is actually going to double as the bed topper also on the headboard to tie the room together. So right now it's very big. We're going to go to 5 inches on 5 inches overall, so 67 inches wide. Okay, we're going to center the model. We're going to bring the model completely to the surface, and we're going to click OK. All right. So everything looks pretty good. Some things to remember with this: I'll be using larger tooling and longer tooling. So I'll have a 1/4 inch 2-flute ball nose end mill that cuts 4.5 inches. The cut depth is 4.5 inches on it. So I'll be able to get down into these design areas more so than what most will. I have an ER20 spindle on my CNC for Newbies 4896 machine, which is what I'll be cutting this on. So that's that. Okay, so we have our design here. I have it kind of mapped out where I want it. Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to start mapping parts out. So we can go to drawing, rectangle. We can go 0, 0. We'll go a width of 72 and a height of, let's say, 1.5. Create. Nope. We're going to undo that, and we're going to go there and create. Okay. Now, with this, I'm going to go back, and I'm actually going to create a vector boundary. Blank that out. We're going to go to drawing. I'm going to ungroup my drawing. Let me blank that out again. Oh. Delete. Delete. Okay. I have just the outside here, which is what I want. Now I'm going to select that. I'm going to add a new layer. Vector outline. Okay. We're going to move to vector outline. Okay. There we go. We're going to rename this as wood blank. Okay. That's blanked out, and that's my vector outline. So the next thing I want to do with this vector outline is I want to offset it. And I want to offset it outwards using 1/4 inch tooling. We're going to give ourselves a 1/2 inch with that 1/4 inch tooling. So we're going to offset that. Okay, that gives us a little bit of leeway with the tooling. And then I need leeway with the clamping. So I'm going to go 2.5 outwards, and I'm going to go 2.5 off of this one. Close. All right. So I'm off over here, and I'm not too worried about that for the simple fact that this is no man's land. This is unused wood that I'm actually going to clamp to. Okay. Now I know I'm going to use 2x4s as my base. I'll actually probably use cut down 2x6s to get the depth that I want. So now I'll just go through and I'll move this there. And I'll just keep copying and I'll Control V. Control C, Control V. All right. And And what I'm going to keep doing is building this up. And on each area, I'm basically just going to create a box. And I'll show you here in a second. All right. So these lines represent my wood that I'm actually going to glue up and surface. All right. And this will help me understand where and what I need to do. So I have far enough up done. So for this, I'm going to need clamping area. So I'm probably just gonna zoom in here and I'll create a line like so. I'll clip that and I'll repeat over here. And I'll clip that. Now I'll go through and I'll clip that line. And we now have those pieces there. And I'll go through and clip that. Clip that. Okay. Now I'll come down here. And I'll clip that. And I'll repeat over here. And this doesn't have to be real intricate. As you can see, I'm just kind of arbitrarily drawing lines. And I do them 2 stacks just because it's easier for me to keep track of. And I'll go through and clip that and clip that. Now we're coming into some of this. I'll probably just draw a line here and here. Okay, that gives me enough for that. Okay. Now we start coming up in this area, and I'll start with these lines. That's not bad. That's pretty square. So I can kind of start getting this around if I want. With the price of wood, you know, the more wood you can save, the better off you are. But if I go through and I blank out the vector. Let's see. Okay. Let's take this, this, and this, and move to layer, vector outline. Okay. Now you can see my wood blanks, how long they have to be, how many there are, and I can put dimensions to this, and I'll be able to do my glue up as a large panel glue up, but these pieces, I can actually make them, I don't know, my planer's 12 inches wide, so I'll do glue ups that are 12 inches wide, and then I'll run a whole area through the 12 inches wide. I'll put biscuits on the, based off of the plane surface, and then I'll put them together in sections. So if I know I've got a 12-inch wide plane, all right, let's see here. Height 12 inches, create. So I'll be able to do all this in one glue up, and then I'll be able to do another 12-inch section in one glue up. Good morning, Facebook user. And that's how I can break this out, and I'll have enough room here to give myself a perimeter to be able to cut on and do my profile passes. And then I'll be able to have a clamping area. This is all based on trying to find a way to clamp. Okay. This is a pretty intricate part. You know, I don't really have anything major with it. So now I'll just start kind of piecing everything together. So we'll come here. Let's see, we'll come here. We'll do that. We'll do off of that line. So we can clip that, clip that, clip that. Now we can repeat over on this side. Okay. Okay. That looks good. Now we'll come over here on this one. And we can clip that. Right here, up. All right. Now we can take this over to here and up. Apparently YouTube and my phone are listening to me do my broadcast and tell me my headphone volume should be turned down. Okay. All right. All right. Connect those. And connect those. Okay. All right. All right. I've got some stuff doubled up here. All right. I got to go in and manually move these corners into position. Okay. So now we have the top of the design, and we'll go with our lines. We can actually do that as one. Do that one as one. And the reason why I'm doing these as ones is because there's so much taper here that I would lose a lot of wood if I did it as a two-piece because of the taper. So by me doing it like this, I'm saving myself a ton of wood and waste, and I can make stuff easier for glue up as I do this. So now we keep going up. All right, so now as I do my glue up, I will actually go through with a okay. Now I can turn around and give you guys measurements on what is needed for this part. So if I blank that and I blank that, there is my wood glue up as to what size pieces I need. And let's see what the, okay, Control C, V. So I'm going to do 3 glue ups. One's going to be a very small glue up. One's going to be a medium. One's going to be a large. But in that large, I'm actually going to cut small pieces. So I'll be able to use the offcuts from up in this area to make the offcut, to make the actual glue up down in this area. All right. And then from there, I'll be able to plane and biscuit everything and get it down to a 2.5 inch blank. And what I'll do is I'll plane it first to about probably about 2.75, 2 3/4 inches thick, and then I'll put it on the machine all glued together, and I'll plane an 1/8 inch off of each side. So I'll plane the top side nice and flat, and then I'll flip it over to the finished side, and I'll machine that nice and flat. And what I'll be able to do is then I can put my clamps in, and I can actually tell myself where I'm going to put my clamps whenever I do a big project like this. So by having these outline vectors, okay, I know I can put my clamps in this area, and not have to worry about my spindle or my tooling hitting it. Okay, so my clamps are about 1.25 inches wide and about 6 inches long. So I can go 6 inches by 1.25. I can close that. I can move this right here, copy it, Okay, now I can move this, I can rotate it, and I know I'm going to have some clamping right in that area. And my spindle's not going to hit anything in that area. I could probably move my clamp up into there and not have an issue. Okay, same with this. I'm going to bring this up here. Going to rotate it. All right. There. All right. I'm going to put a clamp here. I'm going to rotate it, and I'll be able to move my clamp there and get nice, good clamping force, and know that my spindle is not going to hit any metal or anything like that as long as I program it correctly. And then I have clearance for my outline and everything like that. So now I can make a layout sheet for this on where I'm going to put these clamps. Let's copy those. We'll mirror those, and we'll move them into position right in here. So now I have a now I actually have a clamping design also. And I'll be able to tell the machine where to cut and everything, and I won't have to worry about my spindle hitting my clamps or anything of that nature. Okay, so this is easy because I have a 4896 so this is my table for my CNC. All right, now you guys with the XCarves, maybe you're using VCarve desktop and an XCarve. You don't have that ability. You have the ability to do a 25 by 25 carve. Okay, so now you can actually break your 3D carve into this section where you 3D carve this part in one section. You then 3D carve this part in one section. And then you'll 3D carve this part in one section. And with that, you'll be able to carve this bed topper on an XCarve and then do a glue up. You may have to do a little more finishing work on the seam area right here. You may have to take some time with a hand plane and kind of finesse it into position. But if you do your setup right and you use these setup documents, you can facilitate making very large, intricate carves on an XCarve or a millwright or something of that nature. You know, a Bob's E4 CNC. You can break it into whatever your max table movement is, or what a manageable table is for you, and you can carve all these 3D carves and then glue those 3D carves together. And once you do that, you'll start creating armoire toppers and 3D carved framing and boxing for different applications like that are far bigger than the machine that you're actually running. And that's the cool part. So you guys that are doing the CNC for Newbies XCarve upgrade, maybe you're just getting the 500 by 500 XCarve upgrade, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're getting a strong machine frame, and you're learning how to do CNC work. You don't need a huge machine to be able to produce these type of carves. You just have to have the understanding, and that's where it comes in, is understanding how you're going to do these carves. For a lot of people, this may seem out of line, but it's really not. And you can do stuff, you know, basically just find the center of this wood blank or your 25 by 25, find the center of it and go off of there. And that's how you're going to base your 3D carve. Okay, so if I do a copy of this, okay, I know that I can let's see here. Okay, now I'm done with my CNC for Newbies blank, right? But I know that I only have 25 by 25 with VCarve desktop and an XCarve. So now all I'll do is I'll go through and I'll clip. There's that. Okay, there's that. So now I'll basically create a new layer, XCarve 1 blank, and I'll take that, I'll unblank that, that. Okay. Now with that all unblanked, I'll go through and I'll copy to layer XCarve 1 blank. I'll blank that out. And now I can actually dictate what my cut is going to be and where I'm going to clamp. So now if I wanted to, I could dictate that the job size is only 25 by 25. Click OK. Now bring in the bed topper. Go over to tooling. And we're not going to use any gaps or anything like that. Okay. We're going to use what did I do wrong here? I must not have. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. End mill 1/4 inch. We'll go 3D roster. We're going to go with the grain, and I'm going to do a layout like this. So I'll calculate. Okay. Now I'll close that. I'll go to a finish. I'll go to model boundary on this one. And it's going to take a bit because it's such a big carve. It'll probably take 5-10 minutes to do this. I've had them take up to a half hour, and I have a pretty strong processor. Okay. All right. That looks really nice. Now we're going to go here and we'll copy over the profile. And now I'll just take this section, and this section and glue them all together on the layup table. And that's how you can get a topper that is 3D carved off of a small format machine. Okay. Now if I go back, I go to drawing, I go to job setup, I say it's 72 by 30. Blank that. I keep that. Keep my wood blank. Keep my vector outline. Okay. I don't need those because I'm able to do this all in one setup. Okay. So now I'm going to go to 3D carve. Oh, geez. Go there. Okay. Go okay. And I'm going to go out to selected vector. No offset. A little machining allowance. We'll calculate. All right, now this is if I'm doing it on my CNC for Newbies 4896, which will allow me to carve this whole piece as one, but it'll be a multi-panel glue up. Okay. Now this is where it gets interesting. Let's go out to that. Let's go out to that selected boundary. All right. We'll calculate that. Now remember, I would still need to orientate this to my table, so I would actually rotate this 90 degrees. I would position it somewhere on the table so that I can reach the whole area. And I'd probably have some type of alignment lines with the axes movement. So I'll put some type of grid pattern on my actual table, and I'll make sure my table is all flush and surfaced before I do something of this nature. So there's a lot that goes into a 3D carve like this, and that's why I charge $3,000 to $5,000 for something like this. You know, and you doing it, start off doing some stuff around your house and learn how to do it. And then once you do that, you have it down to a science. You start charging and charge a lot. You can always come down. People bitch when you go back up. That's the way that I see it. Okay, we're processing. Okay, let's take a look at this. That's going to be a beautiful carve. Okay. Now we're going to close that. We're going to go to the profile. We're going to profile this. We're going to go down 2.5. Let's do it. I mean, I'm just playing around at this point. Conventional. Definitely do a separate last pass. 5,000. Let's do it reverse. Let's add some tabs. Let's add tabs. That looks good. Once we add the tabs, we're definitely going to add ramp ins, smooth, lead in. We'll add circular lead ins, 2-inch radius, do lead outs, overcut distance 0.02. And we'll go to calculate. And as you can see, that's where we're going to be at. There's our tabs holding everything, very little cleanup work. and it's ready to go. You can see our cuts. You can see how much wood we saved. And when you do something of this nature, you can cut a lot of cost or up your profit a lot by doing something like this and not having to worry about running your spindle into clamps or anything like that. So if there are any questions, comments, concerns, comment down below, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right, later.